when people first start to come into my teaching, I often encourage them to increasingly build a capacity to drop out of the everyday mind. Very simple move. It's just so deceptively simple to let attention come out of the mind onto anything, because the mind will pull us away from this alive. It will pull us away from life. It will pull us away from this alive, vibrating, luminous moment. It will divide us from the creature of the body. It will sequester us in a little cell of its own making that is filled with falsehood and linked to the creature's survival system, and basically create, in a way, a self-created, but we have to have mercy for ourselves because it's unconscious, and anything that's unconscious is very difficult to get at. So there's no whacking ourselves for this self-creation. It's being created below our awareness. But it creates, in a way, a torture chamber for us, a torture chamber where we have lifted away and barred from our consciousness all of the resources, even the simple resources that creatures rely on. Creatures rely on the earth. They rely on the feel and the support of the weighty substance of the earth, the way that the earth's gravity pulls us to her. If there isn't something called love, I mean, if there's something called love, that's it. The magnetic pull toward the heart and toward the heart of earth, for the creature to be not just us mentally aware of earth, but to let attention sink down into the feel of weight, the feel of earth, to let the body soften open to what's below it. And this is a process of embodiment, because many of us, and I would say all of us to some degree, have closed up shop in terms of the ways that our bodies are made to be circulating energetically with everything around them. Part of trauma, part of conditioning is to pull attention away from things that are painful and to pull our sense of ourselves up into a little ball. And so one of the things that softening and sinking does is it starts to open our relationship, the relationship of the creature to earth, to ground, to support. There are many phrases that describe things that we are metaphorically asked to do. Take our seat, take a stand. And taking a stand for something, like taking a stand for truth, as an embodied being, requires the creature of the body to feel sturdy in its stand. And the creature of the body feels sturdy in its stand by feeling the ground under it, by feeding it with breath, by noticing that in this moment, there's no threat to life right now. And if there is a threat to life, if we are entertaining a sickness, if we are entertaining something like that, we get to meet it one moment at a time outside of concept. And then it's just, for example, the coronavirus, sore throat, tightness of breath, fever, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, meeting it in its simplicity, digesting the fear, soothing. Part of what that grounding does for the creature is it allows it to be soothed enough to fall open to presence. Presence isn't somewhere far away. Presence is a fact when we fall open. And what is not open is simply born of fear and clenching, the fear of a creature. And so part of embodiment, when you sit in a field of presence and you're dissolving and you're in the yum, to bring an awareness, a felt awareness of the body, to let the body be penetrated by light, by consciousness, by, I always think of it as being fluffed. It's like our cells are being fluffed by presence. To breathe presence and light into cells that are holding tension, that are sealed off. No division, not even between presence and cells. Noticing the moment we sink our attention down into felt experience and let our bodies widen and soften and expand. There's just this fluid, single, vibrating collage of being. Just here. When the holy during the dark night was assaulting all of my coping strategies and the structure of my being, myself, my me, so to speak, a tremendous fear arose. I was being driven, here I was, right? Somebody who has been in love with the big questions practically since I popped out of my mother's womb. As long as I can remember, I was doing things like holding a mirror up to the bathroom mirror so I could see what nothing looked like, and laying on my bed, trying to remember what it felt like to be conscious at the age of 11, Those of us who have been, as Donovan says, all my life I have been searching for that which I cannot see. This is really the time to turn toward that with everything you've got, to allow yourself time and support to notice you, below the mind you, to wonder at it, not to think at it, to wonder at it. Ibn Arabi, he's one of my favorite influences. He's was a Sufi. They called him the Sheikh of Sheikhs. He was a grandpa when Rumi was a toddler. And some of his stuff's been translated to English. And he was famous for talking about the wedding of heaven and earth, and said that being human is a perplexity. And there's this beautiful song that's part of our tradition. Who knows where it came from? When I say our tradition, I just mean the Western Judeo-Christian, that even if we weren't raised in it, it sort of permeates Western culture. There's this song that goes, so high, can't jump over it. So low, can't go under it. So wide, can't go round it. Rock my soul. And you can feel the stumping, the flummoxing in that moment. Can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it. And then the author of the song, rock my soul. And then he sings about rock my soul in the bosoms of Abraham, in the bosom of Abraham, which I always found funny. But there's a sense of turning toward that which soothes as you hang out in the unknown. And the unknown is a huge part of our global challenge right now. We don't know how this is going to affect our health, our economy, our tomorrows, each other, the people we love. Huge unknown. And the unknown we tend to fear and populate with dark, negative things. We're certainly going to die. We're certainly going to end up in a ditch and all this. But in the true unknown, there is just this. The true unknown is simply the moment without the mind involved. From the perspective of being, there's no such thing as unknown. Unknown is from the perspective of mind. It doesn't have mental reference points. The unknown is basically things as they are, without the announcer of the mind adding its commentary. And things as they are, when we drop out of the mind into just here, things as they are this. I am, and it's like this. This is what we're asked to meet again and again and again. The flavors of here, and the flavors of a human life not a life on Mount Olympus, but a life that includes a creature that will someday lay down and die, a creature that can break its arm or have a sty in its eye or have a cough or have a chronic or a life-threatening illness. All of these things are part of the walk of a human being. Are we up to it? I think so. If we face it as the moment, the moment, the moment. This is what I'm asked to face. This is what I'm asked to face in this moment. Only this, just this. And this is the practice of what we might call trust. It's coming down out of the mind's craziness, down into breath and ground and feel